In a landmark judgment, the Supreme Court today struck down the electoral bond scheme as unconstitutional. A 5-judge constitution bench of Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, and Justices Sanjiv Khanna, B.R. Gavai, J.B. Pardiwala and Manoj Misra delivered the verdict. The electoral bond scheme, which allowed donors to contribute funds to political parties anonymously by purchasing bearer bonds from the State Bank of India, has been under scrutiny. Introduced in 2017 through the Finance Act, this scheme amended key statutes like the RBI Act, the Income Tax Act, and the Representation of Peoples Act. Here is what key political figures had to say about the Supreme Court's judgment today.
Why was a black money conversion scheme brought in by a government that came to power on the claim of bringing back black money from abroad? Why is it that BJP was the ultimate beneficiary of this electoral bond scheme, having received 75% to 80% of all electoral bonds? Was it given as a quid pro quo for sale of public assets? Was it given as a quid pro quo for benefits given under the table? All these are valid questions in public domain that need to be asked, and the government of the day, as also BJP, needs to answer.
Long overdue, because this was completely against all forms of electoral transparency. We all expressed this in the very beginning, that electoral bonds is nothing but a form of corruption, and to help the present political party in power, the BJP, to garner corporate funds and funds from unknown sources. We don't even know who are the people giving these funds. And the very concept of electoral bonds was secrecy. But electoral funding should be transparent. So this was a dichotomy, and this should have been struck down, I feel, long ago. Now it's late, but better late than never. And this shows that how the present BJP government, Modi government, has been misusing its powers and institutions to enrich itself, to empower itself, and to dominate the entire political system in the country. So I welcome, it's a very welcome decision of the Supreme Court. And the fact that they've asked the SBI to release the names, I think that is a very important thing. Who are the people who are funding? Who are those people? And so I think I really welcome it, and I hope that this will in the future lead to greater such decisions by the Supreme Court, which will ensure justice and equality for all.
See, this is what we have been saying for long, and today Supreme Court has told that the amendment of People Representative Act, the Companies Act and the Income Tax Act has been done with malicious intent, and this needs to be scrapped. Now the Prime Minister has to answer to the people of India why, in spite of objections from the RBI, in spite of objections from the Ministry of Law, and in spite of objections from various income tax departments, they went ahead with this, overruling all their recommendations not to do this. So the ball is in the Prime Minister's court, and at least for this, I hope he comes out with his Mann Ki Baat on why he did it.
Unconstitutional and stuck it down.
I welcome the decision of the Supreme Court to ban the electoral bonds, because electoral bonds were nothing but a fraud committed on the people of this country in the name of electoral reforms. So the government, especially the Modi government, is to take money discreetly without people knowing who is paying, which corporate is paying, which political party. and how much. And they used to corner the largest share of money from the corporates for a quid pro quo. And it was a nexus between the Modi government and the corporates, where the corporates would pay the government through electoral bonds discreetly without people's knowledge. So it was a game played by the Modi government from last many years. They have cornered thousands of crores through these electoral bonds and used the same money taken from the corporates through quid pro quo, helping them in many other ways, various ways. And same money was used in the elections to defeat the opposition. So this is a welcome move. It has brought respite if it is totally banned.
Sir, going ahead, now that it's called unconstitutional, going ahead, should you press for the BJP to return all the money to the corporate?
So one, Mr. Modi and the BJP should apologize to people of this country for misleading them and saying he will bring electoral reforms and playing a fraud on the people of the country. Two, all those money should be returned back, and there has to be explanation why. Because we in the opposition are in no way in a position to help anybody. But as a government, when they got thousands of crores and 80% of the funds were given to the BJP through electoral bonds by the same corporates who got undue favors. So all this money should be brought into the domain and accounted for, and the people of the country should understand the design of Mr. Modi and the BJP, the way they are being defrauded, and the way they are told that we will bring electoral reforms. Here the biggest pain is Mr. Modi assured the country that I will bring electoral reforms, I will bring transparent system, and he did exactly opposite and brought electoral reforms to fraud the people and the whole system together.
It is a big decision of the history of India. I think we fully salute them for their brave decision. I think country needs such type of change. It is not for it to save democracy and to save all of them. I think they have taken a bold decision. I think I'm sure that even they will go even to the grassroots level, to even put in the voter level. Voter level has to be such type of decisions to be gone to the voter level. There was some decision from session at point of time when it was election commission. Now I am sure Supreme Court will take a decision to see that this type of misusing the offices will stop.
This is the most historic judgment that we have got from the Supreme Court in the last 5-7 years. It is a great boon for democracy. We were all concerned for the last so many years. Everyone who loves democracy was protesting about it. I myself wrote several articles and spoke to the media many times. And every issue that we had raised has been tackled in this judgment from whatever we heard in the judgment. The detailed judgment is yet to come. But from whatever we heard from the Chief Justice and fellow judge, it's a unanimous verdict of the Constitution bench, which is the best thing that could have happened to India's democracy.
देखिए, आज एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण फैसला सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने दिया, जिसका कि बहुत लंबा असर होगा हमारी पूरी चुनावी लोकतंत्र के ऊपर. उन्होंने ये इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड की स्कीम कॉम्प्रिहेंसिवली स्ट्राइक डाउन कर दी है, ये कहते हुए कि इसमें जो एनोनिमस एलिमेंट इन्होंने लाया कि भाई किसी को पता नहीं लगे कि भाई ये इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड किसने खरीदे और किसको दिए, ये बिल्कुल हमारे जनता के सूचना के अधिकार के खिलाफ है, जो कि एक मौलिक अधिकार है जनता का. और साथ में उन्होंने तो ये जितने भी अमेंडमेंट्स आए थे कंपनीज एक्ट में, इनकम टैक्स एक्ट में, रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ पीपल एक्ट में, सबको रद्द कर दिया है इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड स्कीम को जो ला रहे थे. दूसरी बात, उन्होंने ये भी बोला है कि ये जो अमेंडमेंट करा गया था कि कंपनीज जो हैं कितना भी पैसा पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज़ को दे सकती हैं. पहले जो रिस्ट्रिक्शन था कि अपना एनुअल प्रॉफिट से 7.5% से ज़्यादा नहीं दे सकती, वो भी रद्द कर दिया है कि ये हमारे इलेक्टोरल डेमोक्रेसी के ख़िलाफ़ है, क्योंकि ये लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड को हटाता है और बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियों को इलेक्शन इन्फ्लुएंस करने देता है. साथ में उन्होंने ये भी बोला है कि जितने भी इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड्स खरीदे गए और जो जमा करे गए, पॉलिटिकल पार्टियों ने जो अपने खातों में जमा करे, उसका पूरा ब्यौरा स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया, जिसके पास ये सारी इंफॉर्मेशन है, वो इलेक्शन कमीशन को दे।
Big day for Indian democracy, big day for transparency, big day for the right to information under 19(1)(a), big day for striking out clearly unconstitutional provisions, big day for bringing transparency into the political system, big day for exposing political parties who are participating in scams, biggest scams in the history of this country in the last many years. It's a big day for many, many, many reasons.
So according to you, what will be the important takeaways from this particular verdict? The court has also given directions to SBI to furnish details of all these political contributions which have been made so far. How relevant do you think that direction could turn out to be?
No, in fact, it's a very, very salutary direction, because now the political parties who have contributed and given them these bonds, will have to give this information to the SBI. And within 3 weeks of the date of this judgment, that information will be given to the Election Commission of India. Within 1 week of that, it will be put up on the website of the Election Commission of India. So the question of transparency is quite clear, and we'll then get to know that who gave what, how much did he give, and through that process we will get to know the quid pro quo. So perhaps it's the biggest scam in the history of this country, and the fact of the matter is it's nothing to do with elections. It is a step taken by my good friend, the late Arun Jaitley, to amend the Income Tax Act, amend the Representation of People's Act, amend the Companies Act. Through the Income Tax Act, these donations are not subject to tax at all. And through the Representation of People's Act, they don't have to, no candidate has to, no political party has to disclose this donation. And through an amendment on the Companies Act, even loss-making companies now after the amendment could have made as much contribution as they liked. The previous law was it had to be 10% of the average profits of a company. Now, not only that, a foreign company which has an Indian subsidiary could also contribute. So all these amendments were made which have been struck down. So this is a very, very significant judgment which seeks to restore the level playing field in the electoral process in this country. So one, bring transparency into the system, ensure a level playing field, and make sure that these kind of schemes do not skew the politics of this country. And I'm delighted that the Supreme Court has taken all this into account.
So how big of a setback do you think it is for the central government, because the centre had very extensively defended this scheme before the court, and the court hasn't really agreed with their arguments, including the fact that they said that it was to reduce curb black monies why the scheme was introduced in the first place.
But what has nothing to do with black money? It's all white money.
Which is what the court has also...
Right, so what has this got to do with black money? A candidate who fights an MP's election can't spend more than 95 lakhs, according to the law. An MLA can't spend more than 45 lakhs. So all that the candidate shows. They don't take any money, they must be taking a few lakhs, maybe from the political party. That doesn't explain, and therefore that donation is in white. So what has that got to do with black money? Black money in any case is used. We can see it happening before your eyes. Your channels will show the kind of crowds and the kind of arrangements that have been made. And if money is used, white money for that itself is ensuring that there's no level playing field. So these are very serious issues. And had the Supreme Court heard this matter earlier, this would not have happened. But anyway, at least we do have a judgment of the court which seeks to restore the balance and to ensure a fair and fair election in this country.
So the timing of the verdict, it's come in a few months ahead of the general elections. Do you think the verdict will have a relevant impact on the upcoming elections in any way?
Without any doubt. I mean, this is perhaps, as I said, one of the biggest scams in the history of this country. And the Prime Minister keeps on saying, show us the scam of the BJP. Well, here it is. Most of them are under the carpet even today. They will come. They will come to light in times to come. But this is perhaps the biggest. And this is going to have a huge impact on the polity of this country. One, I request all political leaders of every political party to take up this issue and make it out and convert it into a national movement and explain to the people of this country as to how the BJP has taken advantage of illegal an entirely illegal scheme to aggrandize themselves, build their offices, build offices for the RSS perhaps, build their communications network, only to enrich themselves and only to empower themselves so that no other party can compete with them.